Are you feeling frustrated due to lack of students' engagement in class? Do you think you have done your best just to keep them motivated? I know exactly how you feel because I have been there. And that is why today we're going to talk about 5 concrete ways on how to keep our students motivated. Hello everyone, it's me, Teacher Jelly, and welcome to Teacherella Diaries. This video might seem a bit late because schools have been closed and we are all on a lockdown because of the coronavirus, but I think it's never too late to upload a video like this because we are all hopeful that all these things will pass and another school year will surely open. By the way, if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I'm gonna talk about 5 ways which actually work and which are proven effective because I myself have tried them in my own classrooms. Before that, let's understand what motivation is. Motivation is your general desire to do something. It's like your urge, your drive and fuel to achieve something. Now, generally we have 2 types of motivation. We have the intrinsic motivation and the extrinsic motivation. From the term itself, intrinsic means the motivation that comes internally, comes within you. And extrinsic motivation would refer to motivation that comes from your family, from your friends, peers, relatives, best friends, and such. All those external motivations. I think it's very essential that we strike a balance between having intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Because while it is important to have external motivation from other people around us, it is also important to have your own motivation to do and achieve things. So here we go, and let us begin with the first one. Number 1, give small rewards. If you are a teacher, I'm pretty sure you have been introduced with rewards versus punishment theory, wherein good behavior is being rewarded and bad behavior is being punished. But we're not gonna talk about punishments, we're gonna talk about rewards. These small rewards doesn't have to be tangible gifts, medals or trophies. These simple rewards can come in many ways. First one, we have the verbal rewards. Verbal rewards would be words of acknowledgement and words of recognition, where you can say very good, nice job, great job, keep up the great work, and other phrases and sentences that you can use to praise the students for good behavior. Verbal reward is the very basic that has been proven effective for so long. Most of the time, simple words of encouragement, acknowledgement, and recognition will do the work. And up until today, verbal rewards still work for most of students. But how about for other students where verbal reward doesn't work? Another way of giving a reward is through point system rewards. In this kind of reward, you can give your students chips or sticks that is corresponding to points. And these points can be converted into scores. For example, you have agreed with your students that the points that they will be getting will be collected and computed and will be converted into a quiz score or test score or can be added to their final grade. It's really up to you. It really depends on the agreement that you're going to come up with your students. So aside from verbal reward, we can have the point system kind of reward where you give points and at the end of a certain quarter or school year, you're going to calculate and compute all those points that will be converted into something in some way. Now you might be thinking, tip number 1 is for those students who have been excelling in the class. How about for those average students? How about for those slow learners in your classroom? Now here's where tip number 2 comes in. Tip number 2 is to recognize most improved students. Now I know it's gonna be hard for you to keep track of all their scores and progress because of class size, because there are many students. But it's not impossible for you to keep in mind those students who keep on failing the exams, who keep on failing the quizzes. It's not impossible for you to keep notice of those students who are not participating well in a discussion. So the point is, although you cannot memorize all their scores, you know those students who are always left behind than other students. Now, what is your perfect chance to actually recognize these most improved students? Once you noticed that there is a changed behavior with a student, once you notice that he or she has improved in terms of speaking up or participating in class, just simply recognize that you have noticed that he or she is improving.
Wow.
Also, if you noticed that one student got a higher score compared to his or her other exams, that is your perfect chance to acknowledge that student and to say that I noticed that your scores have been improving. In my class, I asked my students who got an almost perfect to perfect score to stand so that they will be recognized by the rest of the class, by all their classmates. After that, I also asked my students who have improved their scores to also stand. So in that way, they can also be recognized that, hey, my teacher and my classmates have been noticing that I'm doing my best, I'm thriving to get a better score and to perform better in my class. Number 3 is to give your students a second chance to redeem themselves. Now, it's not new that a student will give you incorrect answers, unlikely responses. Now, here's where tip number 3 comes in. Whenever your student gives you a wrong answer or unlikely response, you give the student a second chance to rethink and give you the correct answer. So how are you going to do that? You probe the student, you ask the student leading questions. Leading questions would lead the student to the correct answer. In that way, they will feel better about themselves that, hey, I wasn't able to give the correct answer for the first time, but once I tried again, I was able to get it. They will feel this sense of improvement and they will feel that they can also do what other students can do. You get my point? Now, here's a fact. Many students are very shy, very anxious, very nervous to answer. And those are only some of the factors that can affect their performance in class. This is one of the precious things that I learned from my previous supervisor, Mrs. Pizarro. She actually taught me this tip that we should always give a chance to other students to rethink about their answers. We should always give them an opportunity to give us the correct one so they can feel and know that they can also do well in class. Tip number 4 is to let them work in pairs. Collaborative and cooperative learning are 21st century skills. And boom, it is proven true because students want to work with other students. Dyad and work in pairs are good ways for students to practice peer tutoring. They say that for you to master something, for you to master a subject matter, you have to teach it to other person. And that is what peer tutoring is all about. For a student to master a topic, a lesson that you taught to them, they should be able to teach it correctly to another person too. So dyad task and work in pairs are good chances for them to practice peer tutoring. Tip number 5 and the last one is to let them track of their own progress. So letting your students keep track of your progress is going to mutually benefit you. So how is it going to benefit the students? A lot of times, students don't really know where they are or how have they been doing inside the class. And that is because they do not know how to keep track of their own progress. And that is the purpose of portfolio making. Portfolio is a compilation of all the works, outputs, performances of a student. So basically, all of their works and tests and quizzes will be all collected into one folder. And because all of these things have been recorded in one folder, they have recorded their own performance. That way, they will eventually develop this sense of accountability with regards to their own performance academically. I know this video is very short, but I hope you learned something from this. Apply all the things that you think is applicable to you and to your class, and I hope you will also find your own ways on how to motivate your students. If you have other ideas, feel free to comment down below because we would love to hear from you. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now!